with no further delay to the next speaker, who is actually a colleague of mine, Chinmay Shukla, who is going to talk to us about hospitality going digital, not digital entering the hospitality industry. So welcome, Chinmay, please. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. All right. So the topic today is hospitality going digital. Very quickly, the agenda for this discussion is, firstly, why is all this relevant? Yeah. I'm going to talk a little bit about digital trends, specifically 3 key areas that we think have the most relevance for the hospitality industry, which is Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality. So, the first topic, digital and hospitality. Why is this even relevant? Now, let's talk about the digital age. And we've taken a continuum of the last 20 years. Let's take the example of Facebook. 2005, it had about 5 million users. Last count about 2016, it was close to 2 billion users. So that's the kind of scale and exponential growth you're seeing. WhatsApp, 2014, about 500 million users. Within a span of 2 years, that's literally doubled, 1 billion users. And in 2020, we're talking about 30 billion plus connected devices. So 2020 onwards, we feel there are about 4 key technologies which are going to have an increasing influence on every single industry, and hospitality is also one of them. And why is digital really relevant? It's because of this segment, the millennial travelers. Millennials are expected to make up more than 50% of hotel guests worldwide by 2020. I mean, just pause and think about that. I mean, if there is one segment that needs to be targeted, it's the millennials. And based on studies, for the next 15 years, so from 2020 to 2035, the millennials will be at peak spending power. How do they really impact you? Well, through every single element of the value chain. How do the millennials react in terms of planning a trip and booking a check-in? 2/3 of millennials actually search for a hotel room on their smartphone device or their cell phone. Again, 2/3 of them actually make the booking through their smartphone. 70% are more likely to book a hotel with tech amenities. So, that would be keyless entry, mobile payments, smart TVs. So, if you are sort of price competitive and one hotel has all these smart features and other doesn't, the millennials are very clear in terms of what they'll end up choosing. In terms of experiences, this is a big difference compared to prior generations. The millennials are very keen to share their experiences with people. I mean, that's a staggering number. 97% post their photos on a social network once they've been on a vacation. 500 million reviews on TripAdvisor. What does that mean for a hotel operator or an owner? At a very simplistic level, you need to be proactive as opposed to being reactive. Because if you're reactive with this segment, you've already sort of lost the plan a little bit. They experience something, they go post about it, they post pictures about it, so you really have to engage with this audience. Now, moving on to the digital trends. We are in what we call as Industry 4.0 right now. Just thinking about it, Industry 1.0 is sort of the industrial revolution. That's, when steam was discovered, we started moving into mechanized production. Industry 2.0 was the early 1900s. That's when mass production really started happening. Productivity grew globally. Start of 1970s, that's when computers were invented. That was another period when there was massive disruption that happened in the industry. And we feel we're in the 4th stage of the industrial revolution right now, which is Industry 4.0, or wherein the cyber and the physical realms are sort of merging. And there are different technologies which are having an impact over there. So the likes of IoT, AR, VR, which is augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, robots, blockchain. And specifically for the hotel industry. So we've sort of looked at the customer journey for hotels. And you can broadly classify that into two phases. One is the pre-stay and the actual stay. And what you'll observe is all these technologies are already beginning to have an impact. If anything, the stay bit of it, probably there's a lot more disruption that's happening. And we're sort of in initial stages right now. But over the next 5 years, my guess is you're going to see a lot more development happening here. Let me just take you through some of the examples. So in the pre-stay phase, so right from searching for a property, virtual reality is really picking up, the VR goggles. If you're going to shell out, say, $2,000 a night on a hotel, you really want to know what you're getting into, what kind of beach there is, what kind of rooms there are, how does the spa look, the entire experience, the entire effect. And increasingly in premium properties, that's beginning to happen, wherein there has been a direct correlation between selling an experience via virtual reality and actual conversion into a hotel night. Now, thinking about the actual stay at the hotel, arrival and check-in, this is typically one of the main pain points in a hotel. Going, checking in, standing in line, highly inefficient. And there are technologies which are already there, which are beginning to disrupt this. So the likes of self-check-in kiosks, beacons, I'll dwell on this a little bit more later in the presentation, digital keys on your smartphone, and even departure and checkout. Hospitality, I would say, is one of the industries which is lagging some of the competitors. Why can't we just have bill payments on a mobile? Why do we have to go into a front desk at the end of a check-in? How was your experience? You can just have a survey which is sent to your mobile, just do an electronic signature, and you're out of the place. So what you want to try and do is actually maximize the time that the person is enjoying his experiences as opposed to dealing with processes at a hotel. So the first key area I want to talk about is the Internet of Things. It's a pretty broad area, but if I had to sort of simplify it into a sentence, it would effectively be technologies that enable any physical object to be connected to the cloud. And physical object could be sensors. Why is IoT relevant? If you look at it right now, globally, as of 2017, IoT revenues were around 210 billion. In a matter of 3 years, forecast for IoT revenues is expected to be around 440 odd billion US dollars. So effectively doubling within the next 3 years. And when we look at the cost of IoT sensors over the last 10 years, they've been declining quite rapidly. So from 2010 to 2018, it's literally halved the cost of an IoT sensor. So when from a revenue standpoint, it's increasingly important. From a cost standpoint, the costs are decreasing. So we're getting to what's now called the tipping point, wherein the entire ecosystem or the supply chain around that technology starts to evolve. Think about the iPhone. When it was first introduced, it was just a nice gadget to have. 5 years down the line, it's when the entire app system, the ecosystem around it came into place. That's when it really kicked off in terms of sales. So IoT is sort of entering that phase right now. From a hospitality perspective, what are the key technologies that are relevant? In my opinion, there are 5 key use cases or technologies within IoT that have already started to make a presence and will make an even increasing presence in the near future. One being beacons. I'm going to talk about this in a little more detail. Personal interactive mirrors. This is a mirror wherein you can get your local news, weather, even actually interact with your front desk using a mirror. Connected thermostats. This point and preventative maintenance are interlinked. Again, hospitality as an industry has been lagging in these aspects because a lot of these technologies have been around for a while. Think about any of your high-end German cars. the cars typically don't break down because as soon as something starts going off, you're notified. Tire pressure is decreasing. There's some problem with the engine. And at the end of the day, how do they do it? It's effectively sensors in different parts of the vehicle. The same thing can be done for a hotel. If your HVAC system, your AC systems are having issues, you as an owner, as an operator, need to be notified when the problem is beginning to start so that you can plan your CapEx around it and fix it before it becomes too much of an issue and you have major problems both from a customer experience standpoint as well as from a monetary outlay standpoint. So beacons. So this is sort of the first deep dive I'll do. Just taking a step back, I mean, why are these technologies relevant from a commercial perspective? The reason is, if you really talk to general managers of hotels, they have the task of giving customers a differentiated experience or giving them the best experience they can offer. But actually think about it, they know very little about their customers. Unless that customer is a frequent traveler to that particular hotel, uses the same app, he doesn't really know much about you except what your name is, your preferences, the likes, nothing. I mean, there are initiatives in place where you're trying to push apps. Again, pickup for that has been rather limited because typically you can only, what do you get by downloading an app? You get some sort of promotions from that particular application, that too for that particular group, which perhaps does not make economic sense. You need to sort of incentivize that customer to share information with you. Beacons, I think, are one technology that can help you do that. Reason being, so think about this. What is a beacon? It's effectively a transmitter that works on Bluetooth frequency. Now, say you arrive at a hotel, at valet. A beacon can detect, it talks wirelessly to your device, your handheld device. It knows, say, I'm Chinmay, I've arrived at the Waldorf Astoria. They already know I've arrived. I walk in, I can skip the entire check-in process because, say, I've already got the app downloaded. Beacon can do a facial recognition of me. I get an electronic signature on my phone. I walk straight up to my room, swipe my phone, I'm inside my room. The entire process is 30 seconds, whereas right now, it takes anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, right? So this is pretty transformative. And if I was given that option that, to be able to use these services, I need to download an app, sure, I'll do it because there's a substantial time saving for me. The second major role for a beacon is in terms of personalizing. Say, you're sitting in a restaurant and, you have the option of, or you're waiting for one of these servers to come to you. Using beacon technology and with your app, you can just order food that you want online through your phone. You don't need to wait for anyone, order, reorder, the like. It just makes the process a lot more efficient and speeds up the entire process. And I wanted to give you sort of actual examples where some of this is being implemented across the world. Because it's all well and good to talk about these technologies that exist, but unless you actually see them in action, it's sort of hard to buy into that concept. So the first one I want to talk about is the Grand Ambassador in Seoul. This one is quite neat in the sense wherein using your app, you can control every single element within your room. So think about lights, curtains, TV, room temperature. There are also preset moods which you can control from your phone. Even requesting amenities like pillows, towels at the middle of the night. It's just inefficient to call up somebody, wait for person X or Y, when all of this can be done using your smartphone application. Hilton is another one which is making big strides in this space with their connected room platform. Now, if you think about it, like a lot of these technologies, room selection, this is almost like picking a seat in an aircraft. Now, these technologies are available for hotels. If you know who I am as a customer, you know what my status is, why should I not have the choice of picking a room that I want as opposed to going and talking to front desk and that entire negotiation process going on over there. You want to and absolutely have to, transfer the balance of power into the hands of customers, and some of these technologies can help you do that. Digital key, that's something they've already implemented in certain select hotels in the US. And connected room. So if you see over here, that's sort of what it looks like. You can control your TV, your lighting, temperature, the likes from your smartphone, which makes it easy to use. And the other cool thing that they've done is they've partnered with Netflix. So think about this. You're at home watching a Netflix series. You pause at, say, I don't know, minute 20. You want a continuation of that. What Hilton has done through the Hilton Honors app in certain select properties along with Connected Room is you check into your hotel using the Honors app, you sign into your Netflix account, you pick it up at minute 20. Now that's personalization, right? So it's almost like a seamless transition from your personal life to your professional life back to your personal life. And these things are, they're really meaningful to the millennial travelers who are sort of your primary target segment going forward. Marriott has also been making a lot of investments in this space. So their guest room lab, and this is in the headquarters in Maryland. They also have an entire hotel in Charlotte called Mbeta. But some of the technologies that they're experimenting with are digital mirrors, right? So you get up, you can have an entire yoga sequence on your wall. Sounds great to me. Digital wall art. Why can you not personalize your room? If you sort of wake up in the morning, if you've been traveling nonstop for the last couple of weeks, seeing pictures of your kids on the wall, I think that's a pretty great experience, gets you off to a great start in the morning. Personal preferences. This is one of my peeves. When I go to the washroom, it takes me about 5 minutes to figure out the right temperature, right? So why can't you just talk to that device? I want water at 65 degrees Fahrenheit. And now, a lot of these technologies are available, but it's just, I think that industry has been lacking in terms of investment, and but these things are possible right now. I'll very quickly touch upon AI because I'm running short on time. But in terms of AI, there are quite a few applications. Robotics, facial recognition, virtual assistants, and some of the use cases are with reference to revenue management and customer experience. And in the interest of time, maybe I'll just talk about a couple and then I'll open it up to questions. So when we think about revenue management, that's a big gray space which hasn't been disrupted for a very long time, right? So all the hotels still have those big revenue management teams. Most of it is done on Excel, but there's a lot of manual input involved over there. Why can't we use machines to sort of run algorithms which analyze millions and millions of data points and help us in pricing or getting the right price points, which helps in optimizing our profit? So traditionally, when you think about pricing, you look at historical and current reservations, so which is your your booking profile for that particular property. What's your occupancy, your room type, your daily rates, are there groups which are coming or not? But combine this with external information. So if you're a desert resort and there's a dust storm coming, you need to slash your prices and you need to slash it ASAP. But chances are you're not going to know about this 2 months in advance. You only know this a day or two in advance at the maximum. Competitive pricing. You can look at online booking agents. What kind of booking profiles have been happening in the last couple of days globally or within that particular market? How are your competitors doing it? Music or sports events in the arena, right? So when you combine all these data points, you get to the right price points. And artificial intelligence is something that can really help in this space. Voice-activated rooms. This is another thing that's really picking up. Right now, it's been deployed in 2 hotels across the US. And they're really excited by this. Aloft has called it Project Jetson, but it's effectively like it's based on Siri, right? So you check into a room. There's probably like a minute or two wherein there's a custom Aloft app on your iPad which needs to recognize your voice. Once that's done, you pretty much control the room with your voice. Now that can be from setting alarms, from room lighting, ambience, play X, Y, Z song for me. All of that can be done using this technology of voice-activated rooms. And last but not least, with reference to artificial intelligence's robots, I've used 3 specific examples here. This one, Bottler, is more back office. The other 2 are more front office. Especially in the back office side, there are quite a few properties who are experimenting with this. Reason being, it's quite cheap to do. In terms of business model, you can rent out a robot for about $2,000 a month. You have a 3-year service contract. But the great thing is you don't own the inventory. If anything breaks down, it's a robotic company that comes and replaces or fixes it, right? But anything in the middle of the night, a robot can go and deliver to your particular room. Helps in differentiating you as well. And what this does also is your employees actually focus on serving your customers better and on more complicated tasks as opposed to delivering towels or toothbrushes in the middle of the night. All right, I'll sort of pause here. If I have any questions, I'm happy to take that.
Actually, we don't have questions, sorry. Sorry for that, sorry, Chinmay. We don't have time for questions. But first of all, thank you very much, Chinmay.